Welcome on this frigid morning. Look at all of you who turned out. I think some of you turned out specifically for Mike and Laurie. I'm Phyllis Havens with the Worship Committee, and welcome to the last themed worship for January in our ongoing resistance and activism focus. And that's what the focus of this morning is also going to be. And we are delighted to have Mike and Laurie Sproul here from, I hope that's how you pronounce your name.
Brownville?
Oh, Sproul.
Sproul. Yes,
yeah.
From Brownsville. They got here on time. And we are delighted to have them. Laurie will be talking some about her sculptor art and the concept of using voice and skills and talents for active resistance. And they're both skilled and talented musicians, and I feel like I've already started contra dancing up here. So, a couple of announcements. I think if there are anybody new this morning, we will have Hannah Wonderly passing a mic if you want to introduce yourself in a bit, to use your voice. A couple of announcements. You all came in through the vestry door, because we do have an active warming center going on in the Dorothy, and that's going to continue, I think, at least through the end of today. So fellowship, so when you leave the sanctuary after the service, fellowship, go downstairs, either with the elevator or the stairs, and go down for fellowship downstairs. Betsy Reed, our beloved Betsy, mother of Kate Dutra, has been working for the warming center and Needlepoint Sanctuary, which is putting on this warming center in the Dorothy. She came in to say that if anybody after church wants to go outside, go up the hill, come in through the ramp into the Dorothy, because they have an alarm lock on that door in the hallway, she would love some help in the kitchen. She's wrapping up some food preparation. They had put breakfast items out and everything, and she's going to be here for a few more hours, but she's exhausted and could really use some help in the kitchen if anybody wants to do that. All right. Also, for anybody that has used or needed personal listening devices, please see the note in our, where's Ben? Ben's over there in the corner. He's our tech advisor for the personal listening devices, which are now in the process of being repaired and upgraded, so there isn't anything, and I do not know how to coach you on downloading the app on your phone, but questions, Ben can answer that. So with that, if there is no other announcements, I will say, is there anybody here who would like to just introduce themselves, and Hannah can come with a mic? Raise your hand if you want to give voice to being a visitor. Oh, yep, back. Do we?
Cedar. My name's Cedar.
Welcome. Welcome. And welcome to all of you who have been staying at home, fixing things like frozen pipes, which is Laurie Cartier. Maybe she's online, I don't know. And anyone else at home who's just attending the service by Zoom. We welcome you as well. Go on to some more music from Laurie and Mike, talented musicians as they are. Lighting our chalice this morning will be Cassie Belka. Oh, I forgot to, oh, no, it's lit. Thank you, Anna. I will note also this morning in speaking about resistance that usually there's one Sunday every month that our Reverend Drew Miller takes off. I believe seeing some photographs that he was with hundreds of other faith and clergy leaders in Lewiston last night, doing just that. To be a Unitarian Universalist. To be a Unitarian Universalist means we'll never be done with the work of telling the truth about oppression, the work of resisting any laws, policies, or practices that deny anyone their humanity, the work of stubbornly speaking out the spark of the divine in each other and ourselves, no matter what the work of creating heaven on earth. To be a Unitarian Universalist also means we're not alone in the work. We are not alone because of our promises to love one another. We are not alone because we are companions on the journey. We grow ourselves into allies, helping one another get free, because none of us is truly free until we are all free. Blessed be. Thank you, Cassie. Our opening hymn this morning is something familiar for everybody, "This Little Light of Mine." All right, stand as you are willing and able. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. Everywhere I go, I'm gonna let it shine. Everywhere I go, I'm gonna let it shine. Everywhere I go, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. Building up a world, I'm gonna let it shine. Building up a world, I'm gonna let it shine. Building up a world, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. The story. Good morning. We're going to start out by having this wonderful singer, and I'm afraid I forgot what her name is, sing a brief little ditty that comes from that beautiful poem that Amanda Gorman wrote and said, I think at Biden's inauguration, I think it was. Yes. So let's do that first. It's very
Hey, you guys, Leah here. So I must be among millions, if not billions of people who tuned in to the inauguration yesterday on January 20th, 2021. And I was inspired by every moment of it, but especially rapt and lifted, exalted, just completely fixated and moved by Amanda Gorman's poem, her presence, her beauty, her artistry. And so this song was born. There is always a light when we are ready to see it. There is always a light when we are ready to be it. To see the light, to be the light, to raise our eyes in the dark of night, to climb this hill, together we will. There is always a light in the dark. We are ready to see it. There is always a light in the dark. We are ready to be it. To see the light, to be the light, to raise our eyes in the dark of night and be a gift. Together we will. There is always a light. There is always a light. We are ready to see it. There is always a light. There is always a light. We are ready to be it. To see the light, to be the light, to raise our eyes in the dark of night and be a gift. Together we will. There is always light. There is always light. There is always light. There is always light. To see the light, to be the light, to raise our eyes in the dark of night and be a climb this hill. Together we will. There is always light. There is always light. There is always light. There is always light. Be the light.
So, real simple here. You just heard this beautiful song, and you also just sang This Little Light of Mine with Mike and Laurie. What does having a little light mean? Does it mean having a flashlight or a lantern in your house when there's a power outage? Does it mean having a supply of candles in the house? Oh, okay. Okay, your name is Rose, right? So, what does it mean to have a little light?
That you're the person who lights up your house when it's dark.
You're the person who lights up your house when it's dark. Where do you keep that light? Inside of you. How do you let it out? When you want to. Do you have anything else, Rose, to say? No? Okay. Any of the older people? Because that's what I was going to ask the question. How do you let your light shine? What do you do? What would or could you do to use your light to deal with things that seem dark? What would you do?
Light up the room.
Light up the room, yes. And you would let your own light out. Yeah. Do you have an idea? What would you do?
To be kind.
To be kind. That's a lovely thing. Absolutely. Any other thoughts, people? Oh, Cassie.
To use your voice and speak out.
To use your voice and speak out. If you use your voice and speak out, some of that light gets out, because then people know how you feel, where your heart is, and your spirit. So that's a beautiful thing. Is it easy to do? Never was very easy for me. Somehow I looked around and I didn't see a whole lot of people speaking up until I actually got into college. And then there was the Vietnam War, and then there were a lot of people speaking up about that. So we have a lot of stuff going on now in our country where people are speaking up and using their voice. But anytime you see anything that doesn't feel good to you, you can let some of that light out. And it can be a little scary at times, but with practice we get better. Oh, Connie.
Just smiling at another person is a great way of letting your light out, letting it shine.
The kindness and the love come out even as simply when you light up your face with a smile. Thank you. Well, now I think, oh, Mike. I'm gonna have to pass the mic to you, Mike.
Yeah. The light is an enthusiasm in us, and we can let it out in many ways. We can sing, play music, we can paint, we can write poems, or we can talk to other people and just let them know how your enthusiasm is in you, how you feel, and what to do about it. To let it out is to actually do something.
Oh, one more from Cassie. Yes.
I think that the world we live in tries to have us ignore our light. And so I think the first step is learning to listen to your own light and recognize it. Listen to your inner voice.
Well, then we are going to sing you down to your classes, because I think you've got SE downstairs and Camden waiting for you. All right. This is the time in our service where we open up our hearts, and if we have joys or sorrows or dark heaviness that we need some light shown on, it's time to come forward and light your candle. And I'll be doing the chat, so anybody on Zoom, please type your chats, your concerns in the chat. Anyone else? Again, a candle lit for all of the heartache and grief and sorrow and pain we're all holding in our hearts and spirits this morning for the ongoing brutality that we are witnessing. May it somehow be resolved. But otherwise, we raise our voices and resist on. So candles for all those in this community who are keeping their thoughts or their joys or sorrows close to their hearts. We are here in beloved community with you. And for all those who don't have a beloved community to share, we hold your thoughts, sorrows, and concerns in our hearts as well. We are all one in spirit. Blessed be. Now is the time where we open our wallets as well as our hearts to the work of supporting this beloved community. This is the last Sunday in January when we are looking to gather undesignated cash from the plate to go to the Ukrainian relief efforts. You'll see that in the announcement. We're looking to support the Hungarian Unitarian Church's charity organization called Providence Relief Organization, which I think they're also in Romania. And they're getting supplies together, and Reverend Drew is connected with this congregation. So any additional cash on your plate will go to them. Thank you. Blessed be. We'll do our collection. Our reading today is entitled Practicing Resistance. It starts when you say, we, and know who you mean, and each day you mean one more. From the poem, The Low Road by Marge Piercy. Out of all our themes this year, resistance is among the most complex, but it also may be the most simple. Let's start with the complexity. Sometimes resistance involves bravely picking up a picket sign. Other times it asks us to courageously put down our masks and allow who we really are to see the light of day. Sometimes it involves defeating the enemy. Other times it's a matter of noticing, treating them as the enemy defeats us all. Often the path of resistance asks us to stay in it for the long haul. But just as often, it's about taking that first tiny step. Most of the time, it requires us to fight to the bitter end, And yet there are many moments when we need to stop resisting and let go. Resistance certainly takes the form of speaking the truth to power, but often what the world needs even more is for us to speak the truth in love. Bottom line, practicing resistance is tricky business and takes multiple, even contradictory forms. But beyond this complexity lies the simplicity of Marge Pierce's words. In all cases, she reminds us, practicing resistance starts when we say we. For instance, the power of our picket sign resides in the fact that it hangs alongside those of others. Being who we are usually begins with another person loving us for who we are. Both the long haul and our courageous first step are made possible by reaching out to receive a helping hand. It's all one big reminder that none of us resist alone. Or maybe what really needs to be said this month is that none of us have to resist alone. Yes, we certainly need to be pushed and prodded this month, but maybe what we need most is to be reassured. Reassured that when the road gets too treacherous and the forces against us grow too big, others will be by our side. Maybe it's not more courage that is required, but more connection. Maybe what we really need to hear is not simply resist, but I will resist with you. Maybe it's as simple as that. Blessed be. More special music.
So is it special music or? Oh, it is. Okay. It's on special music. I gotta try to think. Together we stand, divided we fall. Come on, people, let's get on the ball. Let's work together. Come on, let's work together. Now, people, because together we will stand. Every boy, girl, woman, and man. Well, things will go wrong. Say sometimes, well, when the road you're traveling leads all uphill, let's work together. Come on, let's stick together. Now, people, because together we stand. Every boy, girl, woman, and man. Well, 2 or 3 minutes, 2 or 3 hours. What does it matter in this life of ours? Let's work together. Come on, let's work together. Now, because together we will stand. Every boy, girl, woman, and man. Well, make someone smile, make someone happy. All work together, make life worthwhile. Let's work together.
I think I'd now like to introduce Laurie.
On that note,
Do you want me to play it?
no, that's good. So I apologize, I'm just going to read this, but instead of say it from the heart. Since Mike and I both grew up locally, I'll start with a little about ourselves so everybody can figure out how you know us. Any connection will be good, so there's a better chance you'll listen to my talk. I grew up in Old Town. My parents, Bill and Fern Stearns, were also from Maine. Dad was born in New Hampshire, but defends himself since he was conceived in Maine. We canoed a lot. We attended just about every church in a 25-mile radius for about 1.5 years each. After graduating from UMass in art education, I went on to Orono to study oceanography. Mike is a 6+ generation Mainer on both sides. He has connections to Captain Robert Sproul, who sailed a boat here in the late 1700s to get away from the English. He grew up in Bangor on a farm where Joanne Fabrics building is, and then settled into a career as a locomotive engineer and conductor. He also canoed a lot. As an adult, Mike used to come to this UU church because he was attracted to it being a spiritual setting, welcoming everyone regardless of their religion. Mike and I met, you might have guessed it, canoeing. Among other wonderful things, Mike shared my Celtic roots. It's, by the way, it's Burns Night at Celtic Crossroads, FYI. That's why I'm dressed up like this. Mike inspired me to revive my music skills and invited me to join him at the UU Church in Sangerville after we moved to Brownville. I found the UU consistent with my own spiritualism, the idea of human relationships and community involvement being the root of a spiritual space, and of one's helping strengthen that community being one's service and prayer as we collectively strive for some small degree of non-dysfunction. I agreed to give this activism talk quite a while ago and have felt increasingly nervous about presuming any authority on the topic, remotely matching the scale of how crucial activism has become. But I decided I couldn't go wrong with sharing my story. I started carving because I loved carving more than school and thought I could make a go of it. Initially, my work was pure realism. Realism was enough. I loved wood, I loved flowers, I loved making things. Life was good. Before long, I was invited to be on the episode of Bill Green's Maine to talk about my carving and canoeing. I had just read Bill McKibben's book, Earth, and was struggling to wrap my head around the climate freight train that nobody seemed to be taking too seriously. I remember saying to Bill Green, seemingly off topic, "We'd better do something about climate change, or in 20 years it's not going to be about buying and selling sunflowers." My sunflower. To my surprise, he included that comment in the show, although he hadn't prodded for further discussion on the matter. That was my first inadvertent activism. It felt surreal to say and really believe something like that while the world carried on with life as usual. I was increasingly mystified about why climate action wasn't front-page news. I stumbled upon Citizens Climate Lobby, or CCL through this talk, which lobbies for a national price on carbon. It clicked for me as a climate solution. I also connected with the founder's realization. He used to think important people were doing everything they could to fix the problem, but had found out that important people were doing everything they could to not fix the problem. My lobby involvement soon took priority over my carving. My brother Alan was quite active in lobbying for gay marriage and summarized activism as, "You take something that's blatantly obvious to you and fight like the Dickens to make it a reality." I read some findings about lobbying. They actually researched this stuff that helped me not feel too overwhelmed. One described the similarity of human behavior to a murmuration of birds. Rather than a small number of individuals making huge corrections in the population's direction, many, many different individuals make little corrections in the overall pattern. Another was, if you consider a circular plot showing people with increasingly differing views on a topic, and you want to change the group opinion, it's more effective to influence those fairly close to you and so on around the circle, rather than targeting those on the opposite side. A good one for visual artists is that a picture with a face in it will catch a viewer's eye more than any other subject. And CCL's favorite, if you're nice to people you're talking to, they will be much more likely to listen. After several years of lobbying, however, I felt burnt out. I still had the conviction that Citizens Climate Lobby was where I needed to be, but digging into policy was not my skill set. One day my brother helped me out by simply advising, use your art. That turned out to be easier said than done. It was quite a struggle to figure out how to make an impact, how to make a flower help win a bill on the Hill. You can't just will it. I kept thinking, if somebody can walk 100 miles to raise awareness for a disease, I should be able to figure out how to carve a flower to raise awareness about the climate crisis. My first attempt was Your Move, I called it, which was kind of like the sledgehammer approach. Oil strangling a delicate flower. I changed my artist statement to things like inspired by nature we could lose and carves to raise awareness about climate change, and showed my new sculptures at a floral show at the Viles Arboretum. Nothing happened. Still no price on carbon. Fortunately, acrylic painter Jean Ann Pollard, wife of Peter Garrett, who some of you know, teamed up with me to show our work. She's a published writer as well as painter, and was skilled at describing how our art illustrates the beauty of what we have to lose, steering people towards good energy rather than doom and gloom. She was aggressive about having literature at our shows about climate change, about climate solutions, writing articles about our shows, and pairing our shows with speaking and other events. We got on 207 and in Women's Magazine. She would recruit other writers also to write about each show. That teamwork made all the difference. Someone on the same page as me, good energy. Connecting with groups that already had traction. I began to see that the most significant role of my art was to act as an intention getter, or icebreaker. Then it became all about the conversation. Our art greases the wheels, as any icebreaker does. Any passion, any skill, anything that you have to give somebody. The beauty is in the following conversation and relationship. What used to be simply a rose became a conversation about using local wood, what main trees are threatened by the warming climate, and what we can do about it. What used to be sunflower became shoulders of giants, encouraging the use of the writer's concept of building on the wisdom and strength of great people who have already done much of the work ahead of us. I have exhibited in over a dozen Earth, Love It or Lose It shows with Jean Ann in any space we can find, brought art to conferences in DC while lobbying on the Hill, and had work featured in a climate political action exhibition at Peabody Essex Museum in Salem. At all of these, we included references to climate solutions to coax people towards action. I think it's crucial that activism doesn't just challenge the status quo, but also shows a path forward. Otherwise, what's the draw for somebody on the other side? I'm dismayed that issues are arising that are more pressing than climate. I'm finding the theme in all of the competing troubles, though, seems to be fighting to keep reality as a founding principle of decision-making. I have recently raffled 2 sunflowers for Doctors Without Borders in Ukraine. Somehow Ukraine's struggle represents what is right and real. So supporting them hopefully helps derail opposing powers that are currently making decisions that are fantasy-based. I ran into trouble with my second sunflower raffle because raffles newly fell under the state gambling rules. I was faced with new state-monitored logistical processes that frankly left a lot to be desired and bogged down the online raffle sales. I was so infuriated with the Ukraine situation, however, that I went out on a limb and decided it was worth the risk. Even if I didn't raise as much money, I would still generate discussion and momentum towards something that was blatantly obvious to me. Maybe I'm getting better at lobbying, but suddenly there seems to be an increasing number of blatantly obvious things to do something about. I'm not really sure if all the activism in the world can change the trajectory of climate. Some days I'll go so far as to give it a maybe. Some days I think I'm on the Titanic, analyzing what role to take. I'll help with the lifeboats. But either way, activism is also an antidote for despair, as Robert Reich reminds us daily, and connects us with community, which is the UU's spiritual cornerstone. My recent conviction is that this will be a lifelong lifestyle. As soon as the current political drama is over, when we get back to reality-based decision-making, people will again be confronted with problems that demand just as much, if not more, activism. Jean Ann Pollard wrote about the tragedy of the commons, suggesting why we, as of yet, are collectively unable to solve big problems like climate change. Too many people are individually disconnected from the consequences of their behavior with shared resources, and as a result, take advantage of them. This leaves community growth and problem solving difficult, to say the least. What I don't know is why some have a moral compass to help, while others have a moral compass to play a part in the tragedy. If I had a spiritual theme song, it would be Let the Mystery Be by Iris Dement, which we just played. I've always let that be my answer to the philosophical boundaries of religion. Now, it's not just useful to dodge the question of how much a supernatural hand there is in our existence, but also why some people don't have the moral compass to help with our collective survival. Why, for whatever reason, some people are more oriented towards being the last man standing rather than helping with survival of the species. What I do know is that my spiritual strength comes from connecting with others, helping each other, walking in the woods, compromising or redirecting my passions to prioritize the larger good. The more successful my activism, the more defenses I have against defeatism and despair, and the more I become active in the community, the stronger my community is, and the more grounded my spirituality, regardless of what comes. What started as a struggle to figure out how to say what is blatantly obvious to me has become a deeper understanding of how activism works and a more effective strategy to help affect change. Offer an icebreaker that people can relate to, then you can talk. Maybe I should read that. I'll just read this in case somebody can say it. I thought you were about to, so you have to carry the fire. I don't know how to. Yes, you do. Is the fire real, the fire? Yes, it is. Where is it? I don't know where it is. Yes, you do. It's inside you. It always was there. I can see it. Okay, simple gifts next.
What happened to the Spirit of Life thing? Huh? Okay. But we'll play it through once instrumentally, then I'll sing a couple times. Sing it a couple times.
As we extinguish our chalice this morning, Hannah, if you will, I'll tell you how to survive the apocalypse. First, learn to listen, not only for enemies around corners and hidden places, but for the faint footsteps of hope and the whisper of resistance. Hone your skills, aim your heart towards kindness, and stockpile second chances. Under the weight of destruction, we will need the strong shelter of forgiveness and the deeper wells that give the sweet water of welcome. We have a place for you. When the world ends, we must not add destruction to destruction, not accept a beggar's bargain to fight death with more death. In order to survive the apocalypse, any apocalypse at all, we have to give up the counterfeit currency of self-sufficiency, the mistaken addiction to competition, the lie that the last to die has somehow survived. Blessed be. And now, we'll sing our benediction.
Is this a cappella?